Hey everyone, we're back at the Mojave once again with another companion run. We've done runs for Butch Deloria, Craig Boone, Raul Tejada in Fallout 3, Preston Garvey in Fallout 3 in New Vegas. We're gonna be doing Fallout 4 runs here soon. So let's continue the trend with an adventure centered around our favorite follower of the apocalypse, Arcade Gannon. I'm pretty excited for this one, and it's a run I hadn't planned nor was on the backlog. I came up with this idea earlier this month during my unintended hiatus. It was either Arcade or Veronica. I flipped a coin, it was heads, so Gannon time it is. Gotta say, Arcade's special is quite good, possibly the best for any companion up to this point. Endurance and Luck are 4, they're not the worst setbacks to work with, especially with a 10 intelligence and a 6 and everything else. It's pretty interesting because that means Arcade is the most charismatic companion, and while he certainly is charming and handsome, calling him charismatic is a little bit of a stretch, especially for a guy who avoids being the center of attention whenever he can be. But I like that 6 charisma for reasons we'll see later in the run. We'll never be starved for skill points either. Arcade's exclusive apparel and weapons are the same as a standard follower: dot coat, eyeglasses, a plasma defender, and ripper, so no need for the Gek. A few simple console commands and we're good to go as far as his inventory is concerned. Our weapons are awesome, but we have 0 damage reduction or threshold, so we absolutely have to embrace being a glass cannon. Our tag skills are going to help us out with that quite a bit. As you can see, energy weapons and melee are exactly what we're using, and having those as tag skills is fantastic. Medicine is not only great to have for better healing right out of the gate, but it makes sense with Arcade's affiliation with the followers. Just know that up to this point, I played normally without doing any major story quests, and have engaged in as few battles as possible, and for us, that typically means the most combat we engage in is battling the giant soldier ants at Avonpa racetrack. So being that we start at level 4, we have Educated, which we took at 4th level, which is great coupled with our high intelligence and confirmed bachelor. Not only is this in character for Arcade, you can actually recruit him with this perk, and the damage buff against male units is enormous. Every male faction warrior has that perk too at 2nd level, it's pretty awesome. With that out of the way, let's get down to my favorite part of every Fallout challenge video, except faction warrior runs, setting the scene. Arcade's goal is a simple one. In this timeline, his urge to aid the followers and help Freeside is what prompts him into action. However, this is not exclusive to just lending aid throughout the dilapidated community. The followers are in dire need of supplies, and while he prefers to keep a low profile, his little secret, shall we say, can help him survive traveling throughout the Mojave. By little secret, I of course am referring to his Enclave roots. His knowledge of tech and energy weapons just might be the difference maker here. In this timeline, Arcade Gannon never meets Courier 6, so what happens to our favorite male bro? Sometimes they're killed by Benny at Good Spring Cemetery, other times they leave through the Mojave outpost. This time, however, the Courier's tale has a rather gruesome end. Offering to aid Ranger Ghost at the Mojave outpost due to her concerns regarding the smoke rising from Nipton, they encounter Wolpez and his band of legionaries. In a bold attempt to get revenge for the innocents slain, the Courier ends up biting off a little more than they can chew, and although they do their best, it just isn't enough. Between the Master Frumentari himself, his subordinates, and the Legion mongrels, they, who would have otherwise been the star of the story, falls in battle here. After Wolpez successfully fends off Courier 6, he adds their corpse to the fiery pile of tires. Yeah, I fired up a second playthrough just for that footage. For the purposes of this playthrough, however, when we did interact with Wolpez, we just let him go on his way and swore revenge, saying that his crime was not forgivable. That was en route to Freeside where we started the run officially, but that means we won't have access to Wolpez to get a history point for Boone, which is normally how I like to go about these things when we recruit him. Why are we bringing up the former First Recon? Because I think Arcade and Boone would actually get along quite well. If nothing else, their mutual disdain for the Legion would make them natural allies. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I think that Arcade is the one companion who, if he were the main character, like here, would be the one to help the others. In addition to being the kind of guy who likes to aid other people on principle, his mission is to strengthen the presence of the followers, which would lead to him gathering allies to help bolster his cause. And because we already know that Arcade favors an independent route that we'll be embarking on for this playthrough, the good thing about that is that we can have a full party, because unless we're vilified with, say, the NCR or the Brotherhood, then we're not in danger of losing anyone. Arcade's decisions are going to be an overload of good karma, despite the fact that he's a neutral karma character himself, which I don't see that, but okay. Now, I'm talking about karma because, of course, Cass being able to join your party, or if she'll leave, is dependent on your karma. If you have evil karma or lower, she will give you a chance or two, I think just one, and then leave. And because killing fiends in self-defense nets you a ton of good karma, well, we're not going to be in any danger there. As you've been watching, we've been going after the fiends. Arcade's first order of business is to go after the famous bounty on the 3 fiend leaders. With help of first recon, Nephi usually is not a big deal. Violet, though, yeah, as you saw, she was pretty tough. She had a pretty decent shot with that hunting rifle, and we were pretty fortunate not to aggro all of the dogs. Because of that, our Ripper makes short work of the remaining ones, and we can head on over to Cook. Now, our protagonist's goal is to donate supplies and caps to his fellow followers at Old Mormon Fort, and this just so happens to have the amazing side effect of cleaning up trash in the Mojave. Thanks to a little tip we got from Major Daughtry, well, Cook did most of the work for us, so we're gonna go reward him by running up to him with our Plasma Defender, unleashing it a couple of times, and hopefully we do not turn him into a pile of Nickelodeon gack, lest we miss out on the full value of the bounty. I guess our 4 luck kinda came in clutch there. Next order of business, we're gonna go make contact with the settlement Novak. And like usual, we're gonna go help them out by doing Manny's little errand here, and we've already done Boone's side quest because, well, once we caught wind, and by caught wind, I mean broke into Jeannie Mae Crawford's safe and found out that she's been doing business with the Legion, yeah, I think Arcade has a bit of a vested interest here. You know, I can safely say that I have never brought Craig Boone here, at least I don't remember ever doing so. Usually I do this first and then I help Boone, but, well, I felt like changing it up a little bit. Like I mentioned a bit earlier in the run, I think that Arcade and Boone would get along pretty well for the most part. Swinging back over to Freeside because, of course, that place was pretty trivial with Boone. Our leader, Julie, has a vested interest in 2 men named Jacob Hoff and Bill Ronti. They have fallen on hard times, and Dixon has gotten them addicted to his special, drink. Dixon got them hooked because both of them are NCR citizens who have settled in Freeside. After convincing him to stop selling to them, lest we let out his, little secret about the NCR, we've got these 2 guys at least pointed in the right direction so we can help them with being productive again. Their talents have been sorely missed by the followers. Not only that, but we strike up a partnership with the Garrett twins. It's an unlikely partnership, but one that actually makes a fair bit of sense. Now, we have a couple of options here. Maybe I'm doing something wrong, but I only ever seem to get the Garrett twins to want to work with the followers. Feel free to let me know if you've got the answer. All said and done, we've got some supplies to drop off. Med-X, Radaway, and Fixer. Oh, and while you're doing this quest, don't forget to go back to James. That way you can let him know that Julie has agreed, and you get a bit more XP and some reputation. Headed to Vault 3, we're going to square down with Motor Runner. Well, I hesitate to call it a fight. I'm going to show you a fun little exploit. And yes, Arcade has been assisting the cons, that's why we have not been attacked so far. As a follower, he's certainly privy to their former relations with the cons. Arcade has convinced Jack and Diane to synthesize medicinal items, but in this timeline, Diane did agree to that with one extra stipulation: deliver the package to Don Hotstetler at the Crimson Caravan Outpost. Khan's doing business with an NCR affiliate. That might be some useful information for later on. Motor Runner goes down, and after we dispose of his 2 guard dogs, the fiends will not enter because apparently they have not detected us, despite the fact that we're not using a silent weapon. But pay close attention to our compass. Yep, they lost aggro, and because we entered with a Great Khan disguise, they recognize us as a friend. They're really broing out for us, those fiends. And now, just a reminder that we do not have Vulpes to get a history point for Boone with. That won't stop us from taking out the Legion raid camp. And again, we're gonna just go after Sea-Loose inside of Camp McCarran. Yeah, Lieutenant Boyd's not gonna like that, but Boone will, and we want to do his companion quest. I think that assisting the Bitter Springs refugee camp is something that Arcade absolutely would do, so his travels would take him there anyway. Might as well take out some legionaries along the way. We free the Powder Gangers, and right after that we're going to the NCR CF to assist the NCR in reclaiming the facility. We don't have to do much fighting ourselves, as Sergeant Lee and his squad are here to clean up, and of course Boone's gonna get in on the fun. I think that at this point in Arcade's journey that he would be assisting the NCR because ideas of independence, although he would like for the Mojave to be independent, he doesn't have a courier to push this ideal on, so he doesn't quite have the means to set that into motion, but it is a nice pipe dream. Still, the NCR is certainly a better alternative to Caesar's Legion as far as he's concerned. Speaking of assisting the NCR making our way to Boulder City, we have a little situation on our hands because we've been buddy-buddy with the cons up to this point. We're gonna try our best to talk them out of the situation and defuse this peacefully. Not only is it in character, but it's events like this that get Arcade thinking, The cons, maybe they're not so bad after all. They need a bit of a push in the right direction. And I definitely see Arcade pulling that line where he says, if you have any integrity, you'll honor the deal. Now, we're gonna go back because you might not know about this. There is a well-hidden turbo, though it's marked as owned, back where Jessup was. You want to make sure that they're cleared out before you pick it up, lest you aggro them. It's right by this little mattress here. We pick it up, and we can loot it, and we can move on. I usually don't show this anymore, but hey, it's been a while, and there is an easy way to get to Melissa. If you've uncovered Vault 19 already, just make sure that you're either very high level with a sneak to go with it, silent running required in that case for sure, or have a stealth boy. You'll need Day Trip if you're not a Logan's Loophole build. Now, Arcade did Diane's errand because it came with the exchange of him convincing her and Jack. And as for Melissa, well, I can't see Arcade being too savvy with being a chem mule, but her quest does have the option to rat out her contact to Lieutenant Hayes. As long as we can convince her that we didn't rat on her or her contact, she will not attack us. We won't get a reward, but at least we don't earn her ire this way. Our great con rep is in no danger either because we've done everything up to this point. That includes helping Jerry the Punk make his way to the followers. We got our usual history points with Boone, just swapping out Wolpez with Celus, and here we are at Bitter Springs, getting ready to take out this gigantic Legion raiding party. Now, this was a little bit funny because earlier in the run, at the start I think, I mentioned that I like the 6 Charisma for a very specific reason. Well, the encounter here is pretty amusing if you have Animal Friend, because although we don't have both ranks, in which case the Legion Mongrels would actually be helping us out, they don't want to attack us. I mean, they'll attack the refugees, but us? Nah, I like to think Arcade is just really good with animals. I mean, the man has a 6 Charisma, so I think he has Animal Friend. I also believe that up to this point that Boone would consider Arcade a very good friend. Being able to confide in our follower protagonist to the point of coming here, yeah, I would say so. And of course, Arcade, once he and Boone are done cleaning up here, once presented with the option to help guide Boone, he's gonna set Boone on a better path. I can't see him being too critical of the former 1st Recon, especially seeing at just how much this has been eating away at him. We also got reinforcements for Bitter Springs, and we helped out the Great Khan here. We just have to have Boone wait outside lest Oscar Velasco will attack us. Upon exposing Captain Curtis as the Legion spy here in Camp McCarran, we have disarmed the bomb here, and wouldn't you know it, we can ride it all the way into New Vegas. Arcade's actions being that we are now idolized with the NCR surely mean that the followers and the NCR are gonna start to reconnect. Well, at this point that certainly seems to be the case. But Arcade has also caught the attention of another big shot, the Lord of New Vegas himself, Robert Edwin House, someone Arcade personally detests, but hey, if he has an invitation to the Lucky 38, maybe, just maybe we can start to shift the tides of the Mojave's climate a bit here. Now obviously Arcade is not interested in helping Mr. House, but it wouldn't hurt to get some more information on what's been going on around here. I do believe that Arcade would also know about Emily Order's little partnership with Benny and how badly he treated her after she helped with Benny's little Securitron project. I imagine Arcade takes a little trip down to the cocktail lounge just to think things over and steel himself for what he must do. If it comes down to the NCR, Mr. House, or the Legion, I think, again, he would prefer the NCR to run the show here. And he could take matters into his own hands because he has been invited inside of the Lucky 38, courtesy of the Lucky 38 VIP card he got from Chief Hanlon's desk. Arcade takes the mother of all gambles, something that House should appreciate. He's able to sneak inside and take out Mr. House, and just like that, the Mojave was forever changed. Where you had to say that for me, Ron Perlman. And knowing that Benny is at the tops, not only is he going to get some payback for his new Great Conference, but for what he did to Emily Ordle, yeah, I think that Arcade is going to take a bit of pleasure in taking out this guy. Then Arcade Gannon finds, yes man, just like that, his mentality is forever changed. So let's get back to helping Freeside, shall we? We're going to clean some more trash here by taking out the van grabs. We're helping Cass out here. Yeah, Arcade hasn't been doing a very good job at being a door guard. Some he's let in, some he hasn't. He wasn't expecting that little explosion to go off. The original plan was to kick down the door with Cass and the iBot that he's really been wanting to throw away, and just hope for the best, but we don't gotta do that anymore. I do think that Arcade would go the vigilante route for Cass. Now, maybe if he did not find Yes Man, Arcade may be more inclined to go the diplomatic route, the peaceful route, the lawful route. We head on back to let Julie Farkas know what we've done. See, we would meet Emily Ordle right outside of the Lucky 38 after leaving for the first time because she wants us to bug the Lucky 38 itself. But since we took out Mr. House, well, that should give the followers unrestricted access to Mr. House's data. Sadly, in-game this does not happen, but for the purposes of this AU, I'm gonna say that they do, especially because Arcade is a follower, and he is now in the Lucky 38. He's the head honcho there. Oh, poor Arcade, a guy who likes to keep out of the spotlight, has just found himself drowned in the things. Last order of business for Cass is to take out Alice McClafferty, and with a well-timed headshot we do. And we're gonna have to take out the other Crimson Caravan guards inside of here, unfortunately. And all we have to do is kill Alice, and that satisfies Cass's lust for revenge. Now, if you wait inside of here for a couple of hours, the guards outside will de-aggro, and you can leave as if nothing ever happened. Maybe the Crimson Caravan guys like Blake really just wanted Alice to go. This also bypasses that pretty difficult speech check you need if you want to do Jack's quest to get Janet over to the Boomers and Nellis. Now, because we're playing as Arcade, obviously we can't stay in Freeside because, I mean, we can't do the final battle that way. And because we're going independent and because he's the main character, I think in this instance that Arcade would forego the Gannon family armor. So my compromise here is that Arcade stomachs the idea of having Eddie along because he knows that the followers are interested in House's technology, so hey, ever since hearing this little audio tape go off, maybe, just maybe there's some information logged inside of this special little iBot. And now, just because we don't have those options, doesn't mean that we're not going to do Arcade's companion quest. Of course we are. If Arcade gives Courier 6 the idea to go get the Remnants, if Arcade's in the driver's seat, he's absolutely going to do that himself. Wouldn't you agree there, George boy? And hey, George Boy's little scheme to get people to gamble with their lives by running into the field, well, that's not a very follower thing to do. Arcade, Gannon, and the followers of the Apocalypse would heavily disapprove of this scammy action. All we gotta do now is make our way to the Boomers because we need to make contact with them, courtesy of our new friend, Yes Man. You know, touching upon the note where Emily Ordle basically brought Yes Man into the world, she is kind of his mother in that regard. Don't you think it's kind of a shame that there's no tie-in? Like, you can't bring Emily Ordle to the Lucky 38 and have her interact with Yes Man? I really do think it would be the ideal tie-in to get the followers on board with the Lucky 38 and helping out the independent New Vegas route. Oh, you want to bug the Lucky 38? Hey, why don't you just go to Yes Man and I will command him to give you the information you want to help out the residents of the Mojave Wasteland. Now, as usual, we help out the Boomers raise their little bomber, which should totally be a pile of rust, but hey, I guess Lake Mead has preservative qualities. And because we are going independent, we do have to side with the Kings here. It's a regrettable course of action, but just like Arcade says to the Courier himself, no NCR, no Legion, no House. We've already taken care of one of those things. And hey, speaking of the followers, there's a certain journeyman scribe who has an interest in joining the followers of the Apocalypse, formerly of the Brotherhood of Steel. Now, because Lorenzo contacted us through Eddie, that was our little gateway to the Hidden Valley Bunker for Arcade to assess them. Whatever his opinion might have been before, courtesy of this rogue squadron, this is pretty much a declaration of war on the followers. And I tell you what, I was actually very scared to do this fight. But I suppose this is in character because these paladins are targeting Veronica. They want her dead. I would say they would prioritize her and then us. Costly mistake there, boys. And can I just say that I absolutely love this combination of weapons, the Plasma Defender and the Ripper. They're both above average, but I wouldn't say that they're amazing compared to the endgame stuff. It's perfect for this playthrough. And after this chat with Veronica, I imagine that Arcade is replaying conversations he's had with Yes Man about the Brotherhood of Steel. Now, Arcade would know a fair bit about them himself already, but between Yes Man's little, suggestion, we'll call it, as well as witnessing their uncompromising brutality firsthand, yeah, I think we know what needs to be done here. But we can deal with that here in a little bit. Let's go ahead and get the Remnants. It was kind of funny running around with two Arcades. And we have a ton of history points with him, but if you go the independent route, you only need 2 in order to activate this quest. We talked to the likes of Cannibal Johnson, Daisy Whitman, Judah Krieger, Orion Moreno, and Doc Henry. Man, this quest must have been such a treat to the people who grew up with the original Fallout. I didn't. I played 3. Some of you guys know that. Those of you who are here for the first time aren't gonna know that until now. But I have played the original games, and they're both great, and just thinking about going from 2 to New Vegas and seeing all this cool stuff like Doc Henry, Rose of Sharon Cassidy, Marcus as basically a mayor for a settlement. Very cool stuff. Now, it's worth noting that at this point we are at Wild Child with the NCR, and it just so happens that we have a choice to make here. Of course, Arcade is going to pledge the Remnants to assist the NCR. Now, Moreno might not like that, but we have a little bit of a twist here. Now, if you finalize the decision to help the NCR, Orion Moreno, who hates the NCR, is understandably a touch annoyed by this decision, and he threatens to leave. In fact, you walk outside, he's suited up and ready to kill you. But because we are at Wild Child, we have this option right here. Yeah, we could pass the speech check and get more XP, but I like that rep check. This is only available if you are at Wild Child with the NCR. I thought that was really cool. Been wanting to show that off for a minute. Yeah, obligatory mention of the Omertas. We're helping out Caccino. I think Arcade would hate both of these options, but hey, at least Caccino is in his pocket and in the pocket of the followers. I really like how you can sneak in a Ripper, but not the Plasma Defender. You can sneak in a miniature chainsaw, which is, I'm gonna go on a limb here and say, a little bit louder than a bigger plasma pistol. Alright. And making a trip back onto Hidden Valley Bunker. Because we've done quests for the Brotherhood, we're not gonna lose Veronica as we set the bunker off onto a giant display of fireworks here in Hidden Valley. Courtesy of our Stealth Boy and the Silent Running perk we can get by the scribes who have pretty good perception. It's important to remain sneaking on your way out because sometimes the Paladin patrols will be outside and that's no fun. Yes, Fortification Hill. Caesar has told Arcade that if he destroys the bunker, he will give the followers free passage out of the Mojave. This happens too if you win the Mojave in favor of Caesar with Caesar still alive. Caesar lets them go because of a strange old respect he has for his former fellows. And well, fortunately for Arcade, activating the Securitron army causes such a ruckus that it sounds like an explosion. And well, apparently Kaisar will not go send someone down to check. I mean, he's got Frumentari who remained unsullied by the outside, so like, why doesn't he send down Volpez or something? Making our way back to the Great Khans, we, thanks to an awesome mod that I have installed, can enhance our independent New Vegas by convincing the Great Khans to remain here. You need the following. You have to complete side bets with Yes Man. You have to convince Papa to leave the Mojave, or Regis if Papa's killed, or your chieftain. And then you need to be idolized with the Great Khans. And of course, you have to complete Oh My Papa. Credit for this mod and all other mods I use can always be found in the description of every single one of my videos. Next up is El Dorado Substation. No, I did not skip over President Kimball. Because we are at Wild Child, we cannot do the quest. Now, I'm used to getting attacked by these NCR troopers, and I actually only noticed in editing that they didn't attack us. So I'm going to say that they were preparing to do so. Whoops. And you know what, Boone even gets in on the action by gunning down one of the troopers. That guy has really come full circle, hasn't he? Maybe he supports an independent Mojave as well. Nah, he's actually pretty angry at us for, doing what we did to the NCR here. Yeah, I'm gonna say that his and Arcade's friendship is a little bit strained at this point. Last but certainly not least, we can convince Julie Farkas to support an independent New Vegas, something I think she would be a lot more on board with considering that Arcade is up at the Lucky 38. They have direct access to all of his resources, and Arcade has reconnected the Khans to the followers. All we gotta do now is kick the Legion and the NCR out of Hoover Dam, so let's get to it, shall we? We're gonna bring Boone and our upgraded Eddie, who is now property of the followers of the Apocalypse, so I think that in exchange for not having our Gannon family Tesla armor, having the upgraded iBot should be alright. Arcade is still a little twitchy around the little guy, but I think he would have at least grown to tolerate him by this point for all the good that Eddie has contributed to the followers, with all of that wonderful information stored in his databanks. We have to be careful here because although we pack quite a punch, so too do the Kenturians, especially with their upgraded gear, and the fact that although we have upgraded our lab coat, we still don't have any damage reduction or damage threshold. And because our survival got so high, well, kind of high, it's at 55 right now, we have Them's Good Eatin', a perk I absolutely love in hardcore mode. I mean, survival's pretty great for hardcore mode anyway, but those healing items, woo boy! I would ask the Prime Legionary and the 2 Kenturians if they agree, but then again, I really don't care what they think. What I do love is the critical hit effect that comes with this weapon. Just Nickelodeon gack for days, guys. We can go ahead and make our way inside to the terminal where the 2 heavy troopers are waiting for us, and we don't have the option to talk them down, so we're just gonna go ahead and start blasting anyways. And we dispose of them pretty quickly so we can head on over to the terminal, install the override chip for Yes Man, and then we can tell him to send power over here, or over to the fort, I mean, where the Securitrons are. Yeah, it'd be nice if they were here right now, but nah, they gotta, we got a little surprise for good old Kaiser. Speaking of surprises, sneak attacks galore against the Prime Legionaries in here, and the one coming up here, and now we can make our way on over to the switch, and then we're gonna head on out where our buddies from Nellis have bombed this place into dirt, leaving the Kenturians with 1 or 2 health bars, so they're easy pickings. Only takes a couple of shots for each one, and right as we take out the last one, that vertebrate's coming down, Daisy Whitman is dropping off the rest of the remnants, and it's time to rain some terror upon the Legion. There is virtually no resistance on the way to the Legates camp, and unfortunately the boomers kinda missed the mark on that one, but hey, some help is better than none at all. It's the thought that counts, and hey, we kinda won on some of the action ourselves here. As we make our way inside, there is one Praetorian who charges right at our entire group. I mean, I have to admit, that guy's pretty brave. We reward that bravery by adding him to our massive body count. There's a second Praetorian we take out pretty quickly, and what's to come is pretty funny here because, like, Judah Krieger, I guess, really loves his plasma grenades. Now I get it, we can hear the Praetorians on the other side. We want to lure them over to us, but Judah Krieger apparently was channeling Leroy Jenkins from the pre-war era. What was that? Boone was brought to like half health, or maybe Judah Krieger took a page from Orion Moreno's book. They know that they're traveling with a 1st Recon, or at least former 1st Recon sniper, so maybe Orion convinced Judah, hey, if you fire off a stray plasma grenade, no one will notice because that happens all the time. Nah, Krieger just has to learn to aim his grenades, although it's been quite a while. He's not in his prime anymore. At least he's here helping, right? Now, there's something coming up that really confused me. There's a veteran legionary who attacks us, and, I mean, we take him out pretty quickly, but for some odd reason, we got 450 experience points for that. Never seen that before. It's a pretty welcome addition, I must say, but that's a first. Again, if you've got the answer, I'd love to hear it because I have no idea what happened there. Next up comes our showdown with Legate Lanius, and while Arcade is discussing things with this fine gentleman here, Arcade knows enough about the Legion to understand how their code of honor works, so I can actually see him talking Legate Lanius and tricking him into attacking us and fighting us one-on-one because, of course, we're gonna call off our guys too, right? Nope. Wrong. We got some Turbo. I think that was the one that we grabbed from Boulder City, helping us out here, and of course Judah Krieger trying to kill us all with plasma grenades. Even with Logan's Loophole and Day Tripper, we gotta pop our second and final one. Now, pay attention to Legate Lanius' health bar here. You're gonna notice it go from red to blue. He wants to run away and start throwing incendiary grenades at us, and this is where you can really take advantage of him. If you time it right, you can get a lot of sneak attacks, you know, case in point right here. Now, President Kill may have died, but we can still send Oliver home packing with his tail between his legs, where he takes the full blame for the upset and failure that was the NCR campaign here in the Mojave. With the Securitron army and all of the technology that comes from Mr. House at the followers' disposal, I think this is an independent Mojave that will at least persist for a while, especially with the Great Khans backing us. And I know what you're thinking. Hey, what's this ending slide with the Great Khans? Is it different? Well, you're in luck because, just a reminder, I have the name of that mod in the description below. You can grab it from Nexusmods. Set up an account, it's free, download it, it's very fun. I appreciate you guys for watching as usual. Got a lot of runs to look forward to, like Fallout 3 Broken Steel as Amada Almodovar, and Fallout New Vegas as Pikmin. All said and done, I will see you guys at the next video. Later.